Good morning. It is April 17th, 2014, and this recording is for Mathematics 20-2, and the topics that we will be discussing are statistics. But before we get to statistics, we're going to have a little talk about the project that's upcoming for our full year timeline folks. Just a little bit about it, because you won't, if you're following along in the full year timeline, then next week we are scheduled to start the project, and you won't talk to me until Thursday. So let me tell you a little bit. The project, and this applies also to students who are just in the semester 2 as well, whether you're in chapter 4 or chapter 5 or chapter 6, because it's coming up. The research project is intended to provide an application for what you've learned, to provide a review for what you've learned, and to allow you to express yourself through mathematics and mathematical analysis. So you want to take a look at the things you're interested in before you take a look at that task. There's two ways to do the task. One is to pick a math topic and to go deeply into the math topic. I would suggest, if you do it that way, that you might want to choose something that you don't quite understand that's from the course. And that way, by doing your own independent study of it, you can do a review that will help you with your rewrite when that comes up. Another way to approach if you choose a math topic might be, one student chose these math puzzles, and you'll see examples of his work all the way through in my exemplars. He chose to work on math puzzles that his grandfather had been doing with him that he didn't quite understand. And by the end of it, he truly understood the mathematics that was going on behind it. So although the math that he was doing wasn't directly related to the course, it was totally interesting to him, which I also really applaud. So if you've got a curiosity like that, I give you some suggestions in some of the work that some of the recordings you'll see in the resources I've left in the research project weeks. The other way to go about this project is to choose a topic that you're really interested in, like humane treatment of animals is one I've seen. And in that case, you might take a statistical analysis of humane treatment of animals. What kinds of arguments are made in the world using mathematics regarding animals? Some students have looked at how it's different from country to country, how the distribution of different treatments changes in different cultures. What might be the biggest problem with the humane treatment of animals based on what you find. And so how can you embed what you've learned about math into a topic that you care about? And to be honest with you, the best mathematics to bring to bear into a topic you care about is the statistical mathematics. So you can take a look at how graphs can express what's happening statistically. You can look at different studies. You might even do a study of your own. If you're interested in psychology, for example, doing a survey to question your family about their dreams or their aspirations, or maybe about how they might choose an educationally sound toy for a child in their family. Different concerns that you have can usually be treated by doing an analysis of what people think about and categorizing that and analyzing the results. So you will see guidance in, I think I've got 3 weeks set aside for this assignment. Let me see. Looks like it's due somewhere at the end of May. Yeah, May 18th or so. So you've got four weeks of working on the project. It's quite a lot of time. So we'll have lots of time to ask questions of each other. I'm just going to see if Leah found that little introduction to be useful. Hopefully calming. That was my goal. Oh, you're talking about the student that I put the exemplars up. That's Gordon. I think I used his name. yes, I would say that his work is quite amazing, and so hopefully I've got somewhere in somewhere in this section, I hope I've linked an or a recording of us actually talking about his mathematics in a YouTube video. I'll see if I can see it. He brought the assignment to school. Student exemplar, almost completed project. I don't see that video, so I'll have to post it because I know I've got it in my YouTube channel. Him bringing his project to school and testing some of his puzzles on and testing some of his puzzles on other people. I just see one where somebody's doing the surface area of her cat. I had forgotten about that one. That's going to be awesome. So anyway, hopefully you'll find some interesting things of other students' work as you meander through those weeks. Oh, good. So he must have started earlier. Oh, okay. Thanks for letting me know that, Leah, and I really appreciate your careful attention to those recordings. I'm sure it really helps me when I know that you're using the recordings and I can see how well you're doing in the course. I know then that I need to advise students to be on those because they're helpful. Okay, so Leah, I'm going to put you in a breakout room to do your review so that if a question comes up, you can put your hand up and get some assistance while I work on stats with Amber and Leanne. How does that sound to you? Oh, okay. Do you want to go or do you want to do a breakout room? And now we're back. Okay, so now I'm just going to take a look at what Leah's answer was to my question. Leah, did you want to stay in a breakout room or do you want to go? Okay, okay, bye-bye. All right, so I don't want to look at the first two sections of stats. Based on what Amber just said, I know where the kind of the tricky part exists there. So I'm going to assume that 5.1 and 5.2 are going to be things that Leanne can make her way through as well as you can. Standard deviation and then applying standard deviation in terms of a Z-score. Those are, and normal distribution, those are the big ideas. So I think that's what we should focus on. Would you agree with that, Amber, as you review to write this exam? Oh, looks like Amber's mic is not good. I'm going to turn off my mic for a bit and see if we can catch up with the sound. Okay. Amber, can you hear me okay? Okay, yes, she would agree. Okay, I got that message now. Okay, awesome. So if you turn to page 254, and I will go to our textbook on that page as well. And we're going to take a problem out of there and do our best work on that. And I am going to show you another way of doing standard deviation. Standard deviation has a formula here that I think is pretty difficult to manage. It's just really error prone. which is why we're going to use a calculator to do it. So I think we're going to take this easier example first. All right, so from that page, we're just going to take this two groups, something that's pretty familiar to you. We've got two classes and a test, and a number of tests. So we're going to take a look at what we can. Class A's results versus Class B's results. And as you look at this, if you were to be asked who's doing better, what would you say to me? Who's doing better, Class A or Class B? I'm on page 254, but this is the snippet that I've taken off the page, and it's over in the top left corner. It's not the actual exercise you're asked to do, but it's a simple example that's going to help us. We could look at it in terms of Class B. Okay. Why would you say that, Amber? And take the mic if you like. Oh, I like that. More consistent in the marks. They're clustered around a similar point, right? They are. So the min and the max are, the max is 84 and the min is 74. So they are spread out over 10 percentage points. Whereas in Class A, they are spread out to almost 40 percentage points. That's a much bigger gap. Yet in Class A, a much higher score exists. In fact, two higher scores exist. 84 is kind of the mode of Class A. Do you remember the, not the mode, it's the median. Leanne, I'm just going to remind you about the definition of median. It's the middle mark. So the middle mark of Class A is 84, and that's the high mark of Class B. So it's interesting. I think it's a difficult thing to compare the two. We could compare with those, oh good, we could compare with those three calculations. Let's do that. Let's do a mode, a median, and mode's going to be difficult because nothing's really repeated. So we'll just do a median and a mean calculation. So I'd like it if, can I get Amber to do the mean of both classes, and could I get Leanne to do the median of both classes? And I'll give you a spot on the board. You'll recognize it right away. So on the bottom of this chart. So there's going to be a spot for the, I'll move mean over. Mean. And I'll get you to write them on the board. And if you need help with writing them on the board, then I can help you with that too. I'm just going to make some lines as well. Yes, both classes, please. So I've already indicated that 84 is the median of Class A. So part of your job, Leanne, is a little bit done. Good job. And I'm going to write in the 84 over here. And I'll just wait. Oh dear. I'll just wait for Amber. Maybe we could help you out, Amber, if you're getting behind. Maybe I'll get, can Leanne do one of them for you? Amber, are you there? Yes, both. Awesome. So their mean is very close. That's okay. Can you press enter? I think you haven't pressed enter on your last one. I can't see your median for. Oh, I've got it in the wrong spot. So, oh, I see. So I guess I'm talking to Leanne. Did you do the median for Class B, Leanne? It's going to be the middle number. You line them all up in terms of size, and you pick the one that's in the middle. Okay. While you're doing that, I'm going to grab the definition of standard deviation. Deviation and standard deviation. And I think this gets at what Amber had written when she chose a particular value. If you click, when you click the A, double click on the capital A that doesn't have those lines. Good job. Nice job. Okay, I'm going to take a look at those. So if we look at these measures, with the ones we have there, these are called our measures of central tendency, not the ones I'm putting on the board now, but the ones you've got up there, mean and median. They've got a similar mean, but Class A has a higher median. Okay, but it's interesting that Amber chose Class B as more successful. For her, the fact that it was a bit more predictable made them more successful. So we're going to look at their predictability now, and that's what deviation is all about. Deviation in general is the difference between a data point and the mean for the same set of data. So for example, I'm going to highlight those means because they will help me. Oh, no, I'm not. Oh, there I am. Okay, so the means are here. So when I'm looking at that data and I look at, say, well, all of the points, when I take the minimum point, difference between the mean and that minimum point is more than 20 points. And the difference between the mean and the maximum is almost 20 points. So we've got about a deviation of 20, if we could say, on the outset, on the biggest ones. But if we go to the next ones, what's the difference? If we go to the next ones in, well, how about there's a 10 difference about here. I should change color there so that we can see this one differently. This one would be a difference of about 10. And this one would also be a difference of about 10. So we've got 10 and 20, maybe an average of 15. Maybe we'd say that, a deviation of about 15 if we were being really averagey. Now if we go back to Class B, and we say, okay, between 78.4, we'll round that to 78, and we go to the maximum, that's 84, deviation of 6. That's quite a bit smaller. And we go to the minimum point there, which is 74, deviation of about 4. Pretty small. And then we go to that next tier. Okay, well, what's happening next? We've got 77 and 76. So we're just like 1 away and 2 away. So this is really quite a lot smaller, the deviation. So we're going to take a look at a measure called standard deviation. which is a very standard way of averaging that deviation. So let's listen to the definition. A measure of the dispersion or scatter of data values in relation to the mean. That's pretty big in terms of words, but what we want to keep our focus on is a description. It's a description of how scattered the points are. If we were to graph Class A, those points would be all over the place. If we were to graph Class B, they'd be more clustered. That's what we're going to describe with a number. Okay, and then if we go to page 256, and I'm going to go there in my electronic book and paste it to you, but you can turn there now and take a look at the formula for standard deviation. I don't love this formula. It's doable, but I don't love it. I mean, it is the formula, period, in the end. This is where you got lost. Okay, awesome. Because this is why we're doing this, okay? So, and you know what? You're fortunate. I know where the stumbling blocks are, and each year that I teach this, I'm getting better at it. So this is a good day. I know this is going to be the class you need, Amber. Okay, so there's the formula. This formula has a crazy symbol in it that even scares me because I have had the least experience with that sum notation. That funny looking 3 is sigma. And it's saying take the sum of all of these things. Take the sum of all of the differences between the mean and the data points. But first, before you take that, you're going to square them all. This is kind of like, do you know how Pythagorean theorem squares things and then takes the square root of them afterwards to find the hypotenuse? Can you just give me a smiley face if that seems familiar? That's what's happening here, but it's happening in multiple times. Imagine that a triangle had 100 sides and you still wanted to find the distance or the hypotenuse. I know that's hard to imagine, but just imagine it loosely in your head, like a sketch that you can't quite get a grasp on. So if we're adding up lots and lots of sides in this hypothetical triangle, we're taking the sum of a whole bunch of distances squared. And then if we want the average of them, we're dividing by how many we took. So that's what's happening in this formula. If we were to do this formula for Class A, I'm going to do this manually for you, and then we're going to do it with a calculator, and that's the one you're going to use from this point forward, okay? So I need you both on calculator. Tell me when you've got your calculators. Give me check marks when you both have a calculator beside you. Great. Amber, Amber's got trouble with her sound. So we're going to build this thing like so. Class A is going to have, it's got 5 different data points in it, so that's all we need there. Kind of. In a way, really the best meaning making you can make out of standard deviation is what we did with our yellow and pink highlighters. When we took note of how far everything was from the mean and roughly said, well, this one's 20 away and this one's 10 away, so the average is probably around 15. That's my estimate for the standard deviation of A, Class A right now. So that's really what you're after, except the way they calculate it is slightly differently. And I don't want you to pay much attention to the way they calculate it, actually. I want you to just relax about that and allow me to show you this and then allow me to show you a calculator method. Okay, so what we're going to do is sum up all those differences. So now we're going to get really exact. So between 78 and 84, we're going to do a subtraction. And so we need 78 and 84 is 6, but we're going to take that 6 and we are going to square it. Okay? Then we're going to add that to 78 and 67. I need a difference and then we'll square it. So what's the difference between 78 and 67? Can you both do that? Just report that in the chat. I need to subtract the difference between 78 and 67. 9. And it doesn't matter if it's positive or negative 9 in this case, because once it gets squared, the sign of it won't matter. So we're not going to pay attention to that. And now I'm going to get Amber to tell me the difference between, thank you, I just got an Easter egg, the difference between 78 and 89. And then Leanne, the difference between 78 and 56. Amber, I don't know. Which one is 20? Which one is 20? So I'll just gesture what we've done. I'm confused. You're both answering 20. Okay, so we've done 78 minus 84, and we got 6. 78 minus 67, and you got, actually, wouldn't that be 11? Wouldn't that be 11, not 9? Talk to me, girls. I think that's 11. Okay. Now, the job for Amber is 78 subtract 89. Give me that figure, and then we'll square it. Actually, you can write it right into my equation if you wouldn't mind, Amber. And Leanne, you're going to do 78 subtract 56 and write that one in the 4th spot. Thanks. Okay, there goes Amber. Good job. Great. And I'm happy that you're putting a negative sign in there. Good job. And make sure you understand with me that when we take that negative 11 and we square it, it's going to become a positive number. You're going to do 78 and 56. The mean is 78. And see this, this is the mean and this is the number itself. We're subtracting in the other direction. I'm going to get you to disregard the order. That's not important. So we're on 78 and 56. What's the difference between those two? And you're going to put it in brackets and put a square beside it down there in the equation. And so Amber, will you do the last one, please? That's going to be 94. And we'll place it at the end. And this is already kind of a lot of work when we have only 5 data points. So that's, okay, so you took, what numbers did you take there, Leanne? Help me out. What numbers were you subtracting to get that negative 16? Can you write that in the chat? Oh, Amber, okay. What numbers were you subtracting, Amber, to get negative 16? Okay. Of course you were. I'm going to put that at the end. My subtraction in my head wasn't right, which is, it's not uncommon. Subtraction is my least favorite mathematics. I'm going to move your stuff over, but I can't move it without moving this thing. There. And I'm going to take that negative sign over as well. And so now, Leanne, you're still in the position to tell me about the 56. You're subtracting those two. And we have a space ready for you. You can put it in the chat if you want to, and I can write it in. Yeah, it actually doesn't matter. And the reason it doesn't matter is because, and I'll just talk it through with you then. 78 minus 56 is 22. 56 minus 78 is negative 22. And no matter what I put in those brackets, when I square them, both of them will end up with the same answer. 22 squared and negative 22 squared are both positive. 11. What's 11, Amber? Okay. Yeah, I prefer the positive ones myself. And the reason, that's not very tidy, but oh well. 22. Okay. I'm just going to see if I can squish this one. There, that works a bit better. Okay, so there's our answer fill in. So now what I want you to do on your calculators is run the numerator of that thing. Okay. Run the numerator of that thing. So you want to take 6 squared plus 11 squared plus, in brackets, negative 11 squared plus 22 squared. I better put that squared on there. Plus negative 16, also in brackets, because you want the negative to get squared as well. And once you get that, I want you to tell me what that sum is. I don't want you to divide by 5 or take the square root. Just tell me what the sum is there. So we're going to end up with this, because order of operations is going to be important. And there's still going to be a 5 on the bottom, but you're going to tell me what the numerator is. I want to make sure we both get the same number, so that's why you're both going to do it. You're adding up the numerator of that complicated thing we just wrote. So 6 squared plus 11 squared plus, and then you're going to have to make sure you keep your brackets, especially when things are negative, because that's what gets the negative to be squared as well. So in this spot and this spot, brackets are going to be important. And had we left a negative sign on the 22, they would be important too. So I want you both to tell me in the chat what the sum is of that numerator. Okay, Leanne's got 264. I want to make sure that Amber gets the same answer so that we are in the right spot. Amber, are you just about there? Ooh, okay. Both of you should try it again, please. Could be, Leanne, that you left your negative signs inside or outside the brackets, because I do think that number is quite big. 22 times 22 is at least 400. So I think both of you need to check. Okay. It's absolutely important that you have, because I want you to just check in your calculator. In fact, let's go on a little tour with me. Will I be able to see this? I'll have to just take a screenshot before I leave this to show you on my calculator. Open in an image editor. Sure. Okay. So I'm going to take you on a screen share. Okay. So if I were to take 11 and square it, I get 121. If I were to go negative 11 squared, I get negative 121. And if I take bracket negative 11 squared, I get 121. Do you guys want to tell me why this happens? Why it matters? Ah, Leanne's got 10,018. Oh, you both got 10,018. Well, that rocks. I'm going to write that in right away, but in the meantime, can you comment on this? Yes. Tell me about this. Why is it that it's important to put those brackets on the negative 11? And why do we get a positive answer when we do and a negative answer when we don't? Nope, the calculator is pretty smart. The calculator is doing exactly what you tell it to. Right here, I know you can see my cursor, it's squaring the 11. You're telling it to square the 11 because it squares whatever it's being asked to square, and that's what's it's being asked to do. Here, you're asking it, drag the screen, really? Here you're asking it to square negative 11, which means negative 11 times negative 11. Which when two negatives multiply, they become positive. Whereas here, I squared the 11 and then made it negative. That's going to be negative. Really important. And this is going to influence your work in Chapter 3 as well. When you did trig in a cosine law calculation or in a Pythagorean theorem calculation, but mostly cosine law you can get negative values and square them. And if you don't pay attention to that, then you will get answers that don't make sense. Okay, so that's just a little aside. So now I'm going to listen to what you both told me, and I'm going to write 10,018. I'm going to divide that by 5, which is what our formula told us to do. And then I'm going to take the square root of that. No, I won't take it that way. Clear? I'm going to take it this way. So I take the square root, and then I write second answer. Second answer. That, by taking second and this negative sign, I am taking the previous answer, that 203.6, and the square root of that is 14.2. Do you remember when we estimated it would be about 15? The standard deviation here is 14.26. I'll round that to 14.3. And I'm going to leave this screen and go back to our screen for a second. Well, actually, I can show you. No, I can't show you that. You don't see it. Okay, so we're back here, hopefully. Can you see the home screen again? And I'm going to write in what you told me, 1018. And then that's going to equal the square root of, and then we got 203.6. And now the standard deviation is 14.3. Now it's a complicated calculation, and it's not a pleasant one. That seemed more complicated than I would like, and I have a pretty high tolerance. So what we're going to do together is go back, and I'm going to show you how to figure that out with another part of your calculator. When you tell me you have your calculators, do you have one like mine, a TI 83 or 84? Can I screen cap this for you? We know what I'm going to get you to do is at the end of the session, I'll show you how to save all of the slides at once, Leanne. Okay? Sure. You'll have to remind me though, because I have a bad memory for that. So, Leanne, you'll help. Amber, you will help us remember as well. We'll all be on this. Okay. So now I'm going to go back to our screen share, my screen share. You both have one. Good. Okay. This is what we need. I'm going to share my whole desktop. So you can see this screen. I screenshot this earlier. By the way, Leanne, I download a program called GreenShot. You can see the label right here, GreenShot. And I make sure I've got a virus protector on my machine so that no cookies come along with it. And this allows me to do a really easy screenshot anytime. It's so easy, and I recommend it highly. Okay, so now we're going to go to Stat. I want you both to come to Stat with me. That's this button here. And in Edit, we're going to place some information. And I might have to take my, this guy here, there it is. I need to make him smaller. so you can see this other thing with me. There. Okay, so we're going to go to Edit, which means we can see things in List 1 and List 2. And I've got stuff in my list, so I'm going to have to clear them. I'm going to arrow up and press Clear. And then when that's done, it should clear. I'm going to arrow up and press Clear. By the way, what I've done here is these are a bunch of scores, and then I've told the calculator how many of each I've got. And that allows me to do many, many pieces of data, but that's another story, and not very hard. Any of these skills that I'm showing you with the calculator, you can look up on YouTube. If you say TI calculator standard deviation, there will be 5 or 10 or 300 videos that will help you with that. So we'll clear this, and we'll move over to the next. And if you've got yours that need to be cleared, you'll do this also. Come on, clear. Oh, there. And then I go up here and clear, and that's all gone. So tell me if you're ready to start doing this question here. If you give me a check mark, you're sitting with blank screens here, and you've got your lists in front of you. Amber's ready. Leanne, do you need to see this better? Okay, so we're going to put in these values: 94, 56, 89. I'm going to stop talking so you can just put them in. I'm putting Class A in. So we have 5 numbers. I know it is. Okay, give me a check mark when you have your 5 numbers in your thingamajiggy. Good, thanks, Amber. You want to be in Stat, then in Edit. So I'm going to choose Enter or 1. And that's when you start typing in. Okay, so you're there. I don't want to leave you behind, so give me a check mark when your 5 numbers are written in there. Okay, good. Now we're going to go out of this place. We're going to go back into Stat, and we're going to go to Calculate, because we want the calculator to do a standard deviation for us. And I'm going to choose 1 variable statistics. There are times when I choose 2, and I can't for the life of me remember, so I'm just going to kind of make my way through this and see. Sometimes I have to go to YouTube and remember how this works as well. So let's go to 1 variable stats. Oh, I already know that's not what I want. So instead I'm going to go to 2 variable stats. This is weird. No, it is only 1. Sorry about that. This is not the screen I'm used to seeing. Let's go to 1 variable. Okay, and I want this to be list 1. I just want it to be to tell me that. No, it's not. Okay, I'm just going to go to list 1 by pressing alpha. It sounds like we're already in alpha, and I'm going to go to list 1. See this little blue thing that says list 1? I'm going to hit that. That just put Y there. Oh, I don't want alpha then. I want second list 1. Okay, I know I've been very vague there, so let's just Let's use this one variable stats. I'm going to look in my other calculator here because it doesn't work the same way. And maybe yours won't show that either. When you see, when you do one variable stats, is that the screen you see, the same one I'm seeing? Yeah, stats, calculate, one variable stats. And when I'm just going to experiment here by pressing enter. Frequency list. I don't have one there. Okay, I'm going to pause the recording because this is not what I want. I won't pause the recording. Seeing me stumble is part of life. Okay, so just tune out with me for a second here. Median, two variable stats, zero regressions. One variable. List. Frequency list. And calculate the frequency list. Well, this makes sense, but I think they've done an adjustment on my online calculator. Yes, you have a different screen than mine. I know you do. You should really not have to do much at this point besides press. I'm just so disappointed that this has changed. I think what you're going to see here is just this. Oh, what happens for you is one variable stats, and you will hit enter, and it will go into your regular screen, and you will hit list 1 afterwards, and then you're going to hit enter. So you will not see any of this. You will see this phrase on your regular screen, hit list 1 by pressing second 1, and then that will get you, if you hit it again, you're going to get a screen that I will see. I apologize that our two screens are so different, but I'm checking on my handheld, and this is not what I see. So what I'm going to have to do, I'm going to see if me pressing list 2 here will. Go to. I think I have to put in a. Okay, that did it, which is interesting. And actually, hopefully you've got something like this. If you had pressed one variable stats, then you found list 1, and then you pressed enter, you will see exactly what I have here. But I can't show it to you because my calculator is being weird. So can you handle my description there, girls? You have what I have? Okay. Who said that? Amber. Okay, so now you've got this data right on your screen that I have. Super. How about Leanne? I wonder if I can show you this way. Video. There I am. Okay. Oh, I have all except I have a down arrow equals 6 equals. Oh, you have 6. That means you put 6 things into your list 1, Leanne. So, so you need to go back into your list. But can you see me up in your screen? Can you see my picture? I'm waving at you. I've got my winter coat on. Can you see me, girls? Because I can show you this if I try, if it's working. So Leanne, tell me if your calculator is working the way we need it to, or else I'm going to show you on my webcam. Okay, so your calculator is working. I don't have to show you anything else? But seeing me is kind of fun, isn't it? Hello. Okay, I won't show you anything else. Yeah, okay. Okay, goodbye. All right, this is perfect. Notice this number, 14.26. That's our standard deviation number we got the other way. And today, in this example, it seems like it's taken us a long time to get the number we needed to. And I find something really weird. This is 31,438, which seems like a very big number. And ours was 1,018. So I'm not sure what this guy is adding up all the squareds. That is kind of weird. But here is the number that's really important to us. That's our standard deviation. I'll show you what happens after that. If you scroll down, you've got a minimum value of 56, which we had. You've got a median value of 84, which is what we got as well. That's what Leanne and I had written. The first quartile and the third quartile I'm not going to ask you to look at, although that's in your future of statistics if you take nursing, something like that at university. The maximum value is 94, and that's all that you've been given here. But you've got this n equals is how many numbers you put into the system. So you've got, there's the mean, it calculates the mean for you, and it calculates the standard deviation. So what we're going to do fairly quickly, we've got, oh, we're already at 11, but let's do it quickly. I'm going to go into Stat, UR2, and we're going to go into Edit. And in List 2, we're going to put in Class B and see if we can get this data a little bit faster. So I'm going to put in the numbers. I won't speak out loud because I know that as I write them, and if I say them out loud, it'll just put you off. Once you've got them all in, can you give me a check mark? I'm going to clear your check marks for now. Super. Now you're going to press Stat, and you're going to press Calc, so it's this arrow over to Calc, and you're going to press One Variable Statistics. Now you're already going to be ready to go, but you're going to put List 2 in that spot. I am not going to do this. I'm going to go to second entry. There. And so I have to kind of backdoor this, but you won't have to. So now I've got that first one variable statistics list 2, which is what I've asked you to do, and we're going to press enter, and we should have the same screen now. Do we? So Amber seems to have it, I think from her expression. So there's our mean of 78.4, and there we had an estimate in this bracket, right? 3.6 is our standard deviation. So we have similar means, these two classes, but one has a much lower standard deviation. What we know then is that one is more predictable. Ah, Leanne, what do you need? Were you not able to get this to come up on your screen? So I want you to go back again, and I want you to go to second stat. No, not second stat, just stat, and calc. In calc, I want you to choose this, and then I want you to type list 1 in there. If I show you, I'm not going to be able to show you the right thing. Okay? You're going to get this up, and then I want you to type list 1. No, list 2, because we're after the second list. Once you do that and you press enter, you should be able to, this is what you're going to have on your screen. First variable stats, list 2, and you'll do that by pressing stat calc, from stat to calc, and then you'll press one variable stats, and then you'll get this, you'll have to put this in, and to put list 2 in, you press second and 2, and you get that little blue list 2 right there. Tell me if you're following what I'm telling you. Leanne, can you give me some more in the chat? I know you've got that X there. I am going to show you on my machine here through the video, through the webcam, if it doesn't work for you. Okay, so let me get the webcam up. If you want to leave, Amber, you can, because we're just going to be ending the session by finishing up this example. And if you'd like to stay, you can too. Just want to be able to tell. You might have to make my picture a bit bigger in order to see this. Okay, so I just have to put the numbers in because that part I think you knew how to do. So I'm in list. This is what I see on my screen. I've got my lists. I'm going to put things in list 2 so that we can be doing the same thing. That's just going to take me a minute. In the list, I press Stat Edit to get there. And now when I get to list 2, I'm just going to type in the 84, etc. Okay, so there's my list in. Okay, so that's what you've got, Leanne, right? Good, super good. Now, from there, I'm going to press Stat Calc. So I'm going to press Stat, and I get that screen. And then I'm going to arrow over to Calc. And then this is what I see on my handheld. My calculator online is not making me happy right now. So I see this. I'm going to press the list. I'm going to have to input list 2 there. You can't seem to get the same result. Amber, I'll be right with you. I'm a little confused by that too. So now I'm going to press second and 2. And by pressing second 2, the little symbol list 2 comes up. Oh, Leanne got it, good. And now I press enter. And when I press enter, this is what comes up. And if it's not the same that's on my screen, then I may have put my answers in. I'll just press this on my guy here as well. So are they the same? Let's see. I think they are. Whoops. Yeah. So that means Amber. Oh, you're good as well? Okay, well, that was worth a little bit of extra technology and bandwidth. Hello, hello. I like being a movie star. So I really, when I took this job, I thought I would be a total movie star, but I'm only a partial mathematics movie star. So that's too bad. Okay, girls, that is the best I can do in terms of standard deviation and giving you the tools. I have not gotten into the Z-scores and how we use standard deviation to do calculations, but there are other recordings where you'll see some examples. But I do think this is the best video I've been able to do that'll break down standard deviation for you and all of your people that follow. Okay, so hooray for us. And let's call this a wrap, and have a great Easter weekend if you celebrate Easter, and have a great long weekend if not. You're welcome, and thanks for calling it amazing. I'm going to take that to the bank this weekend. See you, Leanne. I'm glad you came. Glad you came. And I know stats is going to be better for you. Thank you. Happy Easter to you too, Amber. Yes. Yay. Bye-bye.